Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, welcome to Kelly Sex Stories,
Hello.
a talk show about pop culture and real talk on sexuality.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, how you doing? And
I'm
today,
good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I was out and about today. I just got back in. And today's topic is Amber Rose and the Slut Walk. And I saw part of the interview when she was on Everyday Struggle with Joe Budden. And it's this other guy that's on there that interviews with him. And they were talking to her, and they was asking her questions about what is a slut walk, and she was saying stuff like she doesn't think that sluts exist or hoes exist. And I wanted to know, what is your opinion on that?
It's one of those, once again, one of those convoluted societal stigmas, because I understood what she was getting at. I understood what she was getting at in terms of repeatedly asking him, well, what is that? What is hoish behavior? What is this? What is this? She was trying to point directly at the stigma that when we use that word, the first thing that really does come to mind is a sexually active female. And when we use that term related to men, it still points to the same behavior, but it doesn't have that negative connotation attached to it because, our society is one that is still very misogynistic, and men have the pass to sleep with whoever and however many women they want to. And when women do it, it's frowned upon. So it points directly to that negative stigma.
Yes, it does. And that's what I was thinking about that, what she was saying, and that she was saying that, women should have sexual freedom to make their own decisions and to do what they want to do, like whoever they want to sleep with, if that person, if this is consensual, then they should be able to do that, which I agree with her. I understand that, and like she was saying, like men, they don't get that same attitude towards them when they do that. And they can have, they can be in a relationship with one woman 1 week, break up with her, get with somebody else, or just simply not even be in a relationship, just go and, just be with, different various people. And that's totally fine in how this society, how the culture is in this society. And it was interesting. I was listening to The Breakfast Club this morning with DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and Charlamagne the God, and they were talking about Lil Boosie and how he said that he was going to get a woman or a girl to sleep with his son that just turned 14 years old. And so Charlamagne, he asked DJ Envy how old his son was, and he said 13, and he started making jokes about it, and he started talking about sexuality, and he said, like at that age, 13, 14 years old, that's when, young men, young boys want to have sex and stuff like that, which I agree with that. And then he started talking about how he started, doing, self-pleasuring to himself when he was around that age. So he understood, how, little Boosie, where he was coming from with that, and that he felt like he wanted to control the environment and know, who it is his son is dealing with and stuff like that. But I kind of think that the way he went about it was kind of wrong, but I kind of see where he's coming from with it, but I feel like it was like a wrong approach. But getting back to this particular situation with Amber Rose is that it's funny how, DJ Envy, he was okay with his son doing that, even though his son is only 13 years old. He was like, just as long as his son uses protection, he's all right with that. Then Charlamagne said, well, how old is your daughter? He said, 15. He said, no. She has to wait till she's 30 40. She got to be married, you know.
See?
And then Angela Yee was like, wait, hold on. She was like, you should be telling your son the same thing you're telling your daughter. And she hit the nail right on the head. It's like, why do we have these differences when it comes to male and female? Why we tell our young boys one thing and we tell young girls something totally different? That's the problem right there.
To start off with. Exactly. And I think that it's something that is so unconscious that most of us don't think about it or talk about it until we have something controversial like the slut walk come up. People know, but they don't really pay enough attention to it. And while I think that it's good that she's trying to shine that spotlight on that double standard and trying to raise awareness, I do think that because of how deep-rooted this particular topic is, and, I mean, we're talking about layers and layers and generations of this imbalanced view of sexuality and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. I think that there's better ways that it could be done. I personally do not like, I personally just do not like the term slut walk because, quite frankly, there's a big difference between a woman who dresses provocatively and a woman who dresses provocatively and she's on the prowl. Not to say that in terms of, you know, being a victim of rape. I mean, when you tell somebody no, no means no. I don't care whether if you're walking around butt naked, no one should be putting their hands on you, period. But it's a double-edged sword because we do live in a society where there is a very prevalent rape culture. And it's not the victim's fault that people see things and interpret it the way they want to. But you have a responsibility to yourself to protect yourself and not take on titles or try as minimal as possible to take on titles and play roles or announce yourself in ways that people will use against you. Because that's what it is. Like, you may just be a very sexually confident woman and you like your body and you show your body and stuff like that, and someone else who is sick in their mind will look at that as though you asking for it and will, violate you because of how they interpreted what you were wearing. And that's just the reality of the type of culture that we live in. Now, because of that reality, I wouldn't promote something like this as a slut walk because there is that double standard and there is people's mental and emotional sickness that, not that I could condone walking on eggshells and by all means dress however you want to dress, be however you want to be who you are, but know the reality of the dangers of the world that we live in. My daughter is 8 years old, and even though it's a good cause, there's no way I would educate her or make her aware of an event like this. Just because of the name itself, it's not necessarily. I mean, it is the same thing because she did mention, the N-word and how black people have taken it and made it their own, and all that other stuff. I mean, I even use it myself occasionally, but that doesn't make the word any better.
Right.
It really doesn't make it any better.
You're right. That's true.
So,
like you were trying to say that when we took the that word and we try to flip it and try to make it into something positive, like what Tupac did, by him saying that it means never ignorant, getting goals accomplished, And I think that she's trying to, in that sense, she's trying to be like Tupac in the sense of be a revolutionary, be controversial, and that's why I think she took on that name, Slut Walk. But it is problematic because it's kind of like she's saying that there's no such thing as slut or whores or or anything else that means the same thing. And I feel like that's not true, because those type of people, they exist and they are around, So,
they do. They really do.
And I believe
they really, really do.
And you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's no standards, It's that, like, pretty soon we'll be living in a world of no standards, and people will feel like they could do whatever. And if they'll feel like this, like, well, since, there's no sluts in the world, since that doesn't exist, so that means that if I sleep with this lady's husband or boyfriend or fiance, then that's entirely okay. No, that's not okay. There's no excuse for that. You're still being a Jezebel, and that's wrong for a person to do that, whether it's male or female.
Right.
And then so that's my whole take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly have mixed feelings about it, and I think it's really just because of the name. I understand what it is she's trying to do, and I commend her effort, but the reality is we live in a world where what she's trying to do with the term and the awareness that she's trying to raise we live in a world where it's not going to travel as far as it needs to because of everything that's attached to it. And then I also kind of gathered, too, I mean, I don't know her personally. It'd be nice to be able to sit down and have a conversation with her. But, even the reputation that follows her, whether it's true or not, in a lot of ways, I have had people say to me, oh, Amber Rose, I'm not surprised if she's doing the slut walk, and it's just kind of like the perception that people have of her, which we all know could be completely erroneous because, even though perception is reality, it's not always truth. But the perception that people have of her affects, this particular issue versus, let's just say, I mean, I'll just play with names here. Let's just say Angela Bassett decided she was going to do a slut walk. It would be received completely differently if Queen Latifah decided to do it. When you're the person that is trying to inspire or continue a movement, you have to take into consideration how people perceive you, what your level of influence is. And in all actuality, I think that no matter what, it would be controversial because of the nature of it, but it's even more controversial because of how people perceive her.
Exactly.
There's always going to be that question of how valid is this, and it shouldn't be that way. Because I see what she's trying to do, and I understand.
I do too.
I know people who have been victims, but it's hard. Like, I have really mixed feelings about it. Like, I just, I don't know.
It's like one of those things. I agree with you. I feel the same way. I have mixed feelings about it. I understand where she's coming from, and I think what she's trying to do is good, it's positive, but it's problematic because of the things you just mentioned. Because people perceive her in a negative light. They may look at her as being an opportunist, or look at her as being maybe a girl a gold digger that just, hooks up with guys that are famous and rich, that's in the music industry. And once you have those type of labels on you, it's hard to shake that off of you.
It is.
It's
really
very hard.
Especially when you are a woman. Especially.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a stain. It's like the scarlet letter, okay? Once a woman has been labeled like that in the public eye, it becomes part of the collective consciousness.
Yes,
and
that's true.
People, regardless of what you do after that, it's always going to come up. That's why I was saying, as far as how deep it goes in our society, in our culture, and how many layers there are to this. It's not something as simple as we going to take that term and we going to flip it and we going to turn it into something positive. No, not with this. This is something that I mean, you're talking about treating a you're treating a paper cut versus having to have surgery.
Right.
What she's addressing and trying to do is something that would require surgery.
Yes.
On an individual and on a societal level, and what she's doing is like trying to put a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah, that's
and
not
it's
going to work.
unfortunate because it's not going to work. She's trying. I give her all the credit in the world, and I send my sister all kinds of love and light. But the world that we're in, too much damage has been done.
Exactly. I agree.
They're going to turn it into a negative because of how much damage has been done. How, because of the imbalances and because of the double standard and because it just runs so deep. And it's sad because I would like to see it work. I would like to see it do something.
I know, yeah. Yes, because we need for women to be put, and women and girls to be put in a better light, for men to respect women and girls more. And it's sad because of music and movies and other forms, video games, other forms of entertainment. They have a very negative look of. They just think that women are supposed to be submissive, and that that we're supposed to do what they want us to do, and that we're not supposed to have a mind of our own, and that we're not intelligent, stuff like that. It's really bad. And then when you talk about perception, going back to that, she used to be a stripper out in Philly, and the issue with that is that a lot of people do not respect strippers, males and females. They don't respect them. And another misconception is that strippers are prostitutes, and that's not true. Because a lot of them, they just dance to earn their money, earn their living, and that's it. And they go home like everybody else, But because of that too, that's also giving her a bad image, and why people may not take her seriously, even though she is really trying to do something to empower women.
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty sad.
Right. It's pretty bad. And see, the thing is, it would behoove her probably, like if I were able to sit down and have a conversation with her, I would tell her that, in order to really make this movement powerful and if she wants it to be effective, what she has to do is get women who have a different, whose perception in the public eye is drastically different from hers to back her up. Because as far as most of the general population is going to be concerned, she's not credible.
Yeah.
She's not credible. It simply goes back to the laws of leadership. I'm reading John C. Maxwell's book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And influence is one of those lids. And when you yourself don't have enough or the right kind of influence, you have to get backed up by people who do. So in order for something like this to work, there would have to be power in numbers and power in influence. She would have to get people who get what she's trying to do and who will work with her regardless of how the public eye views her, and people who are viewed differently than she is to back her up. And then it could become a movement. But there's too many negative influences surrounding it to make it work the way she probably really wants it to and the way it needs to.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Hold on, Shameka. I have a caller. I'm going to see if they would like to talk. We only have like 3 more minutes left. Just a second.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Hello.
Greetings.
How
are you guys doing today?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Good.
Doing
yes, we can hear you.
I'm sorry that there's only 3 minutes, but I've been listening. I should have called in earlier. So I'm going to be real brief. And it's not my purpose to be controversial, but I've got to ask the serious questions. And I heard you say that Amber Rose, she's trying to do a good thing. And I want you sisters to know, you guys are so powerful just in this conversation. But I need to I need to expose the elephant in the room, and that is that Amber Rose, if she is a messenger, I cannot separate her from the message. In other words, who she is and what she propels forward, I can't separate that from her message. Now, having said that, Amber Rose said that she grew up, I believe it's Philadelphia, and she said that the people around her were not traditionally beautiful, but that she was blessed. So I'm not going to go into all the surgery and everything, but what I do want to shed light upon is this right here. Amber Rose presents a degenerate depiction of women. Now, when we say women and we don't assign a race, a creed, or a culture to that woman, we are sadly mistaken, because the atrocities and the problems that the various women face are very different in varying degrees. Now, having said that, I want you to understand that Amber Rose is supported by some people who have an agenda. You understand what I'm saying here? Now, she says slut walk, we need to understand that slut, the etymology of it is slovenly, which is a residual of something infectious or dirty. Now, because she is scantily clad, that doesn't mean anything to me, because I know that Igbo women walk around with barely covered breasts, bellies out, and the men do not assault them because this is a part of their culture. It is an African culture because they are melanated people. Okay?
Yes.
They don't need to be covered up from head to toe. It prohibits the breathing of the skin. Now, Amber Rose, being a white woman, because that's what she is, I believe this is not. I'm listening to you, beautiful sisters, and I subscribe to what you all are saying. But these are my beliefs from my research. I believe that her agenda is to get a particular type of woman into the genetic makeup of the black woman. There, I put it out there because I'm not going to separate Amber Rose from her message. She is traditionally beautiful to black men who are broken and whose minds have been taken over by media and propaganda. But to me,
that's true.
When I look at a black woman who has her belly out, see, I want to tell you one thing about melanin. Melanin is clothing itself, and I know you got to go. Right. So I'm going to let you get on with your show, but I just wanted to put that in there. I had so much more. But thank you for listening.
Thank you.